Noisy high street there. Thank you for bearing with us.
Thank you.
Looked quite nice though, weather-wise.
Looked okay, didn't it?
Not for many of us across the country. Of course, we've been reporting on the floods, and there's a total of, well, actually coming up to 120 flood warnings in place, mostly in Yorkshire. We're going to keep you up to date with all of that. But Matt's going to see in a bit.
So time now is 7:48. Neil's joined us now. So Neil, you're going to talk to time now is 7:51.
It's been a huge year for women's football. England's Lionesses finished fourth at the Summer World Cup. Their match against Germany tomorrow is set to be played before a record-breaking crowd.
But despite progress, there is still a long way to go for it to be treated equally to the men's game. 13-year-old Olivia wants girls to be treated the same as boys when it comes to football. She's been telling Newsround about her own experiences on the pitch.
It's great to see Olivia have such good views, solid views. I mean, we've already had, haven't we, New Zealand, Australia, Norway's women's football teams paid equally to the men's football teams. I know the US is fighting it as well, so... And
apart from anything else,
keep going.
The spectacle of an entirely full stadium. What is it, 82,000 people watching that game? It's fantastic, and just a sign, in a way, of how things have changed. 7:55 is the time.
Just want to keep you up to date with something that's been developing, obviously, overnight and in the last few hours. The total of flood warnings that are in place is approaching about 120, mostly in Yorkshire. We've been in Rotherham this morning to stay at home unless they are asked to leave by emergency services, and the roads are closed in Doncaster as well. Keep across that with all of what's happening with the news, travel and weather, of course. Wherever you are, you'll be getting that update, and of course local radio, and of course the BBC News website.
That's all coming up a little later on. Time now to get the news, the travel and the weather where you are. Good morning, welcome to Breakfast with Naga Munchetty and Charlie State.
Good morning. Our headlines today, there are 5. Good morning. It's Friday, the 8th of November. Our top story, nearly 120 flood warnings are in place across the north of England following hours of torrential rain.
Let's bring you right up to date with the very latest. 5 of the warnings are severe, which means a potential danger to life after the River Don burst its banks near Doncaster.
Now, earlier, a major incident was declared in Sheffield, and homes in the town of Worksop have been evacuated.
In Rotherham, residents have been told to only leave their homes if it's absolutely essential. Our reporter, Luxman's, in connection with those flood warnings.
6 minutes past 8 is the time. Let's go to the general election and campaigning by the parties. Labour is promising to extend statutory maternity pay to a full year and improve flexible working if it wins the general election.
The Conservatives have outlined plans for a new NHS visa, make it easier for doctors and nurses from around the world to work in the UK.
Let's talk to our political correspondent, Jessica Parkminster, for us. Jessica, good morning to you. Gorgeous day behind you, it looks like. And a busy one, of course. Where should we start? Should we break it all down? Should we start with Labour? See you soon.
Royal Mail is launching legal action against the union behind a strike which could disrupt deliveries over Christmas. The company will... Time now is 10 minutes past 8. Let's go back to our main story and the problems with flooding in the north of England. The town of Worksop in Nottinghamshire has been particularly badly hit by flooding overnight. Residents have been moved to a local leisure centre, we understand. We can talk now to councillors some of the problems they're facing there.
And of course, Matt is going to bring us up to date with the weather and the situation around the whole country in a short while. It is now 14 minutes past 8. I'm sure many of you will remember Harry Billinge, the 94-year-old war veteran who captured the hearts of millions of people when he appeared on Breakfast earlier this year.
Yes, he spoke about being among the first wave of troops at the D-Day landings, aged just 18.
And he said he could never forget his comrades who lost their lives, telling us they were heroes. Now, his emotional comments won him admirers from all over the world. Millions have seen and have viewed that interview. And he's still working hard to commemorate his comrades. He's raised thousands of pounds for a memorial in France, and Tim Muffet has been to see him ahead of Remembrance Sunday. OK?
Yeah.
It means so much, huh?
I'm all right. Terrible.
Take a moment, Harry, and people...
Yeah, well, I did it. We had a job to do. All these fellas did a good job. All these men, these wonderful...
The things you mentioned when you spoke about this memorial is education. and how important it is that it's not forgotten. If you were to give a message to young people...
That's what I believe too. I believe it. They mucked about with the creed. He'd take you out in his Bentley.
OK, we'll have a chat about that a little later. Oh, Harry, thank you for
I hope
coming
I
in.
didn't upset you this time.
You didn't. You've been perfect. Thank you.
It's been lovely.
Stay there. We'll take a little break and then...
Good morning, welcome to Breakfast with Naga Munchetty and Charlie State.
Good morning. The time now is 8:32. Let's bring you up to date with a story that's been developing throughout the last few hours, actually. The Environment Agency has issued a number of severe threat-to-life flood warnings in the Doncaster area of South Yorkshire.
The River Don has... On the general election trail, the Conservatives have unveiled plans for a new fast-track visa for doctors and nurses from other countries who want to work in the UK. Under the scheme...
The Labour Party says it will extend statutory maternity pay from 9 months to a full year if it wins a general election.
The Scottish National Party will launch its election campaign today with a pledge to protect the NHS from trade deals with foreign nations.
It's coming up to 25 minutes to 9. Lots coming up on the programme.
8:35 is the time. John's here in this room, in this studio. It's low, OK? We know that, so no business.
But you can be
business.
dropped from this height.
Yeah, onto a soft sofa, possibly.
Maybe.
I think your work here is done.
I wonder, John, what do you think? Do you think?
Let's see.
An American wrestler, perhaps? John, thank you. They know how to put on a show. We know how to put on a show. You could help put on the show.
It's just, I don't know, it's going nowhere. You started this. You can leave now. Thousands of people turning out to see WWE wrestlers in action. They're on tour at the moment. SmackDown, it's called. Arguably the biggest star in WWE is Seth Rollins. He's going to be with us in just a moment. Have a look at what he does.
Be scared.
Out there.
Oh, Matt, I tell you what, I know you've got very important weather to bring us, but wouldn't it have been a joy to have seen that Seth versus... You don't have to like and watch everything.
No, absolutely true.
Exactly. Yeah. Frozen 2, thanks very much. It's going to be in the cinemas from November the 22nd.
8:57 the time now. So David Attenborough has done it again. In BBC One's 7 Worlds, 1 Planet, we've seen some spectacular scenes in the series so far, which travels across a different continent each week.
Sunday, we'll see it capturing the unseen wilderness of South America. One of the highlights is a puma attempting to catch prey 3 times her weight. Take a look and see how she gets on.
Right.
Yeah. Thanks very much. 7 Worlds, 1 Planet, BBC One this Sunday, 6:15. Chad and Bertie are going to be answering your questions on our BBC Breakfast Instagram page too. Get your questions in. Story.
Right now, it's time for the look at the headlines where you are this morning.
We're having a bit of a chat on the sofa here.
Yeah, I think what we've got really here is a new WWE...
Band the script, that's who they are. Delighted to have you with us. Good morning. Yeah, we're going to talk about it in a moment. But they've been using all the emotions of that to write a new, very personal album.
Let's have a listen to the new single. Full Moons. What an extraordinary... Thank you very much, as it sometimes is.
We're going to leave you with an extraordinary man. Just a few moments ago, 94-year-old D-Day veteran Harry Billinge was sitting on this sofa and we were chatting to him.
Yeah, he's been raising thousands of pounds for a memorial to his fallen comrades in Normandy. It's worth having a listen to some of what he had to say.
He gets the last word.